Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. So we got a bit more of a preview on what's happening with the clans, guilds and unions, and community is a new word that they've added. So I thought I'd go through it with you guys today. I've had a quick run through, like a quick read through. This might be a bit of a long video. There's quite a lot of sort of text and stuff to go through here and dissect. But you know, is what it is. It's more or less, it is extremely interesting though, I have to say. Like, it seems to me that they are leaning towards the idea that you might run maybe the clans or guilds more than maybe the union, and then you have a community which is basically an alliance. That's more or less the gist of it. Anyway, we'll read through. In previous gameplay preview, we brought you an introduction to the three types of orgs: clan, guild, and union. This time we will introduce the community gameplay as well as the changes brought by the community to star system exploration and ratings. The strategy space warfare comes down to one thing, and that is concentration. The greater concentration of fire on the decisive point, the greater chances of victory. Space warfare. Why can't I say warfare? By K. Vitier. In the diverse Lagrange network, we are constantly trying to provide all pioneers with richer social relations and gameplay at establishing their own orgs. The pioneers not only need to face the trials of star system exploration, but also need to establish cordial and all-competitive relations with other orgs in the star system. To this end, we have brought you the Star System Agreement and community gameplay, where pioneers can join other orgs in the Star System to sign the community agreement and establish a community for better Star System explorations. Quickly, because I know this was sort of a thing back in beta, so if there are any beta players around, because this was in betas, if I believe, or a variation of this. There was like an alliance thing going on. So if any of the beta players are around, do let me know if this is like the same thing, they've just reworked it a bit, or if it's like identical, or what's going on there. So, community. Create a community. During the exploration of the star system, pioneer orgs of level 5 and above that are not in a community can create a community by initiating the signing of a star system agreement. Various communities can be established by signing the community agreement in the Star System Agreement interface. To face the challenges of star system exploration, clans can establish consortiums, guilds can develop legions, and unions can create alliances. The community agreement only takes effect in star system exploration after the star system development rating is complete and the orgs return to the pioneers' systems. The community will automatically disband itself. So yeah, like I sort of mentioned a little bit earlier, just to try and shorten the video down if people weren't that interested in going through it all, they can catch it at the start, that this is basically about alliances and somehow being able to join your guys together. So we have the Forbes Consortium, the Carillion Legion, and the Courage Alliance. I'm guessing these have been named, so I'm guessing it is, you know, whatever you want their consortiums, whatever you want their legion, etc. You can see it says down here that you've got the Initiator. I'm guessing this is the sign for clan, that's the sign for a guild, and that's the sign for a union. And this will give you the name of the clan, union, legion, whatever, that has created said group. Yeah, looks interesting. So, the Courage Alliance Community Agreement. Join or leave a community. What does it say here? When an org is part of a community, its leader can actively withdraw the org from the community. The leader of the main org of the community can also remove other orgs from the community or disband the community. A 12-hour approval period is required for withdrawal or removal of orgs from communities and the dissolution of communities. Okay, interesting. So you can't just flat out kick somebody out when you just don't want them anymore. You have a sort of waiting period before you can before they can get removed. Interesting that it's sort of managed by a single org, though. Don't know how I feel about that. The way that the guys that I run with is like, you know, we have ARC, and then which is our alliance, and that's not really alliance. It's more like a NATO defensive pact, if anything. And they all discuss options between each other before making any decisions on anything going on. So, you know, having that all in the power of one person, I guess you have to trust the person that you put in power at the end of the day there. Each community has a quota of 150 members, which is shared by all orgs within the community. The initiator of the community agreement, as the main body of the community, may invite qualified orgs to join and become a member of the signatories of the community agreement. The main org of a community may also remove other orgs from the community. An approval period is required for joining and leaving. It's just said what I just read up there. Each community has a quota of 150 members. Does that mean we can have 150 orgs, or is that 150 players? I'm leaning towards it might mean like 150 orgs, and that's due to the fact that if you look at like alliances having 100 members, if it was you'd have 150 guys for like 1.5 unions. Doesn't quite seem right there. Either way, this could be a good way, like I mentioned earlier, depending on the buffs that you're getting for being in the Merc style legions and stuff like that, with the guilds, if I remember rightly. If they have got like PvP specific buffs, you could technically split your union into two guilds, and then create the legion. And then you'd have your legion, which is, you know, equivalent and as strong as a single union at that point. So yeah, this is quite an interesting way to do it. It's going to allow us to play around and actually, you know, go, well, we actually like clans for this. We want to play guilds for this, and you might want to play alliances depending on the buffs as well. So this is quite a cool way of doing it, and be able to keep everyone together. It's also great knowing which alliances are with which, because no doubt, you know, for the most part, they'll probably join together. I know that there are alliances that work together, and so obviously they're not going to want to be all in the same alliance because they want to try and keep some relative, you know, amount of independence. But it's an interesting way of doing it anyway. When an org belongs to a community, members of the org can use the community chat channel to communicate with all members of the same community. That's amazing, because at the current moment we are kind of limited to using third-party programs to do this, such as Discord. So yeah, actually having a chat channel that you communicate with everybody that's within that alliance or anything like that is fantastic. It's going to be much easier to work with everybody within, you know, your alliance, and, you know, get people in the right positions and stuff like that. Hopefully as well, I wonder if it'll come with you can't attack members of the same community. You know, when you accidentally fly into your mates that are in a different union and you start attacking them, I wonder if that'll fix that, because that'll be useful as well. Especially at the current moment, there is a bit of lag in the game that we've noticed, and you know, we've literally seen fleets teleporting into each other, and you can't stop anything happening there. You just gotta, you know, deal with it. So maybe that'll fix that, hopefully. Anyway, members of different orgs within a community cannot use each other's construction operations to warp drive. Okay, but they can maintain relative peace with each other. Org members or the same community will not trigger battles unless the attack command is actively issued. There we go. Yes, this is amazing. That means you won't accidentally fly into your mates and blow stuff up. Can't use warp drives, that's fine. I don't mind that too much. It's, you know, it's easy to deal with. Maintain relative peace with each other, and they explain about the attack. I wonder if this also means that in construction operations, that just means anything, by the way, you know, outposts and all that. I wonder if this means, because it says we can't use the warp drive, but if we can use the stuff in them. We have issues where, you know, guy puts up a advanced mining platforms, and now it's blocked off the resources for an entire union that's sat next to him and stuff like that. If this allows us to still use the resources that are still there, maybe not get the buff. You know, as long as we get to use the resources when you're hived up and stuff like that, this would actually be really good. So considering it says we can't use the warp drive to it, but it's not mentioned everything else, I'm tempted to say that they might allow us to, you know, pinch resources or something out of them, which would be great. Rating criteria. Each org in the community agreement will be deemed as a constituent of the community, which shall participate in the star system development rating. Orgs that do not join the community can still participate in the star system development rating with other communities and independent orgs. The rating criteria within the star system will remain the same, but when a community participates in the rating, the total rating points or occupancy rate of the community will be the sum of the rating points or occupancy rate of all orgs in the community and will be rated against other communities and independent orgs. Therefore, the unity of orgs may have a profound impact on the development and situation of the star system. I read that as basically, if you want to come first and you are in a community, you need several unions to come first each, like in the older system or the current system. That's how I read that. So yeah, there's going to be people that are just going to say they're an alliance and live in Discord and ignore this just to get the rating points. There is going to be people that use this system because they don't want to be cheap and scummy, and yeah, deal with the fact that they now have to, you know, get like double the amount of rating points for 2 unions, for example, or maybe 3 unions. That's how I read that. This is a great change in my opinion. It also means that, you know, multiple unions can get first place if they're in the same community. And it does mean that, you know, just grabbing everybody willy-nilly into your community is not going to help you out here at all, because you don't want to be pulling weight of a lesser union or anything like that, which could be, you know, in itself an issue. But at the same time, you know, it gives the opportunity for sort of fairer gameplay at the end of the day, I guess. Whether people decide to use it or not, well, it depends on their personality, really. The release and signing function of the community agreement will be influenced by the advancement of the galactic events and will require each org to pay timely attention to changes in the galactic events. That's interesting. Influenced by the advancement of the galactic events and will require each org to pay timely attention to the changes in the galactic events. What are they doing with galactic events then, do you think? Definitely have to see what that really means, because I can't quite personally work out what they sort of mean by that. I know what the galactic events are. That's when, you know, you get the caravans dropping your boxes and stuff, and you have to capture X amount of systems and that kind of thing. I wonder if this is going to be completely dependent on the communities and stuff now then. Interesting. Rating rewards. In Star System Development ratings, the rewards for each rating level will also change with the addition of communities. For both the rating 1 and 2 rating rewards, the Dawn Accord orgs will no longer issue a fixed amount of Dawn points to the org members, but will instead issue a certain amount of total Dawn points to the community or independent org, which will be shared equally among all members of the community or independent org. The higher the rating received, the higher the total number of Dawn points received by the org and the maximum number of points available to each member. The smaller the number of members in a community or independent org, the higher the points will be earned by individual members. This is fantastic. This is basically saying that regardless of how well you do, you will always get rewards now for this. On top of that, the more you do, the more rewards will go around. This is, that's a really, really good change. That means that, you know, you do get, you know, your phase 2 union or community popping in with phase 6. They're never going to be able to win that server, generally speaking. But this still gives, you know, the opportunity, because what happens at the current moment is you go into phase 2 server, and you got you know, 3, 4 phase 2 unions or whatever, and they group up. But then, you know, chances are it's 6 or 7 phase 6 unions or 7 unions that are all together. And yeah, you know, they've got no chance. But this does mean that, you know, they can make the rating points and stuff like that. If they are a union and they are in a community and they're not being cheap, they'll, you know, get the first position, and that'll be split between all of them. This gives, you know, still the opportunity to get in second or third potentially, instead of just getting completely shut out of rating rewards, you know, totally. You 7 phase 6 unions, there's 1 to 7 done, you know. And then your poor phase 2 unions won't get anywhere. This fixes that situation, yeah, more or less. There is up to the pioneers to decide whether to unite and pursue a higher target, higher rating, or to streamline and maximize the benefits for the members of the org. In addition, based on game balance considerations, there is a limit on the number of uncapped Dawn points that each member can earn in the rating. Each org in the community will receive a corresponding number of org prestige points based on the results of the community star system development rating and the percentage of each org's contribution to the rating. Orgs that occupy the airspace where the Stargate is located will be rewarded additional org prestige points. Therefore, even within the community, members of orgs need to sharpen their pioneering skills and will bring more glory and prestige to the org, which is pretty much what I said earlier. That's pretty cool. The signing of the Star System Agreement and the establishment of communities are bound to bring a whole new experience to Star System explorations. Not really. Again, Alliance has been around this entire time. You're just giving us a way to in-game declare we're an alliance now, but you know, the rating criteria is a great change. In the node recovery agreement gameplay, to sign a mutual cooperation agreement, pioneers are required to sign agreements with orgs within the star system and system in controlling the airspace in the star system. The introduction of the community gameplay will bring certain changes to the node recovery agreement gameplay. We will introduce the gameplay adjustments in the next section, so stay tuned. So no date yet on this, but yeah, they're basically saying alliances are a thing. We're gonna make you able to have, you know, alliances with an alliance chat. It is going to increase the rating rewards, but you're all going to get the rewards if you get first or second. So yeah, as long as people just don't abuse it, it'll be great. I'm sure everyone's going to abuse it though, because that's how IL sort of works for the most part. Everyone abuses everything. So yeah, hopefully though, this does fix a lot of things, especially for the newer unions that are joining into late servers. It gives them a chance at getting into rating points and not just being strong-armed out due to the fact they haven't played as long. So yeah, great changes in my opinion. Definitely looking forward to this. I will keep you updated as and when I find out about any of this, so any more when the next section comes out and whatever dates and stuff we get for that. And yeah, have a good one guys, and I'll catch you next time.